So I've just wrapped up my first month in my new job as a consultant after making a career switch from audit, and I've picked up a couple of things that I want to share with you guys. Now, everything I'm going to share in this video is all based on my own experience, and I did a little bit of research before I started in my new role about, what are the right things to do and the key things to get right in the first 4 to 6 weeks of a new role, especially starting in a remote environment, starting virtually, and not really being able to go into the office and meet your team immediately. There are a couple of advantages and disadvantages I've noticed about this situation in my experience, so I'm going to share a couple of these as well. And it sounds really obvious, but you have to get some really important admin tasks done right in the first month. It's really important to get these things out of the way before you start to get actually busy, and these tasks are the onboarding admin tasks. Sort out your contract, sort out your benefits, get tooled up with whatever it is you need to be tooled up. That's in terms of hardware and software, whether this is your laptop and your phone, getting the right apps and things downloaded, even things as small as sorting out your Outlook signature just so you're raring ready to go once all this is done in the first week. Make sure you know the right way to record your time, which will be a huge thing for forecasting and utilization throughout your career, and it's something you have to get right all the time. So knowing how and when and where to do this is really important to get out of the way in the first few weeks of your new job. Connect with and get to know the big dogs in your department, your firm, your team, your office, whatever it is. Maybe relevant partners, senior managers, directors, people like that. So make sure you're kind of noticed and introduced to them in the same way that you would if you did join a company in person. You'd probably be walking past them, walking past their office, popping your head in, saying hi, that you're new, that sort of thing. Try to find out who they are and literally just pop in an introductory coffee catch up into their calendar. You have to be proactive about doing this because getting in front of these people early is key to just, again, being noticed, integrating yourself as part of a team and as part of a wider mission. To be quite blunt, it's really easy to get missed when you're joining a company remotely. Find out who these people are, or if there are names that you're seeing popping up often in your inbox, or there's someone that someone's recommended you speak with. Pop in some time with them and get to know them really casually and really quickly. Another huge thing you need to do is connect with and get to know your team nice and early. And to do this, you'll probably just have to make a bit of effort and attend every single call that lands in your inbox that you get invited to in the first few weeks. This will include, social events, little networking events, all the little things that probably happen at work outside of your main role. Attend them, maybe even speak at them if you can, and get noticed a little bit. Especially in a remote, virtual environment, going to these events, putting your camera on, as painful as it is something that's really important to integrate yourself well. An important person to connect with is whoever is going to be in charge of your professional development, your performance reviews, the person that you'd be checking in with when you're discussing feedback, probably even the person who's going to deliver to you whether you got promoted or not, and feedback and things like that. Use conversations with this person wisely and try to discuss long-term objectives or expectations of you in your role. By long-term, you don't want to think too far ahead, because I personally think conversations that look too far into the future, i.e. longer than maybe a year and a half, a year, are useless because so much can happen, i.e. this time last year I was still an auditor. And balance that expectation of what you think you're going to be doing in like 6 months time versus what they think you should be doing in 6 months time, and use this conversation and feedback to develop long-term objectives for you in your role. You should be doing this regardless of if you even do have this person to talk to or not, just because long-term objectives really shape and drive your motivation day to day. It's the same thing with personal objectives. If you don't really have personal objectives or personal goals, as loose as they can be, objectives and goals give you a little bit of direction and shape when you're doing day-to-day tasks. So use this person and the conversations with your performance evaluator to agree upon and set some long-term objectives. And something you gotta do that's not really like that obvious is just figuring out how your department or your company flows a little bit. What are the big deadlines and the big dates that occur every month or every week? Things like deadlines for timesheets and expenses, dates for big social events or, firm or office or department-wide town halls or catch-ups, things like that. Note them down, attend, put your camera on, and make that little bit of extra effort to attend and get noticed at these things. Something I've noticed a lot about my new role in consulting is that your decisions as a consultant have a lot more weight, regardless of your seniority on project work. And by this I mean you have to really own things that you do, and you don't lean into the ownership as you get more senior. This probably sounds kind of obvious if you're watching this as a consultant. With the kind of prescriptive nature of work that you had in audit, there was less weighting in your decisions because decisions were kind of made before you're doing the work, if that makes sense. Whereas in consulting, you have to really think about what your next steps are and how the work actually fits into the big picture and whether it's being done right or could be done more efficiently. Little things like that. And something that I've noticed that's a little bit wholesome and something that's quite nice is that everyone I've met, as they did in audit, everyone has such a different story of how they ended up in that Zoom call talking about their career with me. With consulting, people have gone through crazy career transitions to end up in the role that they have today. People have come from aerospace engineering, from chefing, from literally driving planes, is that a thing? Piloting, to end up in software development, and I kind of love it. It happened in audit a lot too. People came from the sciences, from law, from marketing to end up as auditors, and I just think when you're working at these bigger firms, finding out how everyone got where they are is just really interesting, and it just goes to show there is never going to be a right time to change your mind. It also isn't wrong to change your mind. You can just as well decide to take your life in a different direction at any point in time, multiple times. As long as you feel content, you feel purpose with what you're doing, and your heart is in it, you will be grand. Now, all the things I've mentioned in this video, apart from the couple things I've noticed about my new job, are things that are going to help you get well integrated into your team, your company, your office, your department, whatever it is that you've just joined recently and remotely. It'll help you feel part of a bigger mission, and it'll also ultimately help you own the responsibilities that come with your new job further down the line. So I think these are some key things to get right in your first month or so, just kind of short term when you first start a job. And of course, you shouldn't be doing any of this on your own. And if you are, raise this with whoever is checking in on you. Hopefully there is someone there checking on you, because it's important that, you know, your onboarding process is a process that you're doing with someone else, maybe with a team of people, just so that you can land right and onto feet in your new job. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe if any of my blabber helps you at any point in your career. I will see you next week for the next one. Bye.